say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night.
Mr. Leonard Gardner, you may have heard his name over the last 24 hours, was a Chief Petty Officer in the United States Navy. He was serving at Pearl Harbor on the destroyer USS Reed during the December 7th attack. On the anniversary, we honor his participation in defending our nation. On that day, 75 years ago, Mr. Gardner went on to serve at Midway, the Aleutians, Guadalcanal, New Guinea, the Philippines, Okinawa, and Iwo Jima. Leonard Gardner. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce the 10th President of the University of Richmond, Dr. Ronald A. Crutcher. Please be seated.
Thank you, Greg. And good morning to our distinguished guests, proud families, and more importantly, esteemed veterans here and throughout Virginia who are viewing this wonderful ceremony via live stream.
Well, our next speaker is no stranger to this campus. He knows it quite well. He is the Chancellor of the University of Richmond and United States Marine Corps veteran. Please, nice warm welcome for a good friend of mine, Dr. E. Bruce Heilman.
It was my distinct pleasure to lead the parade of World War II veterans into the Robins Center, where I have been associated for 46 years. Further, it is my honor to represent the World War II community as national spokesperson for the Greatest Generation Foundation and for the Spirit of 45, wearing the uniform that I wore 72 years ago from age 17 through 21 while serving my country as a U.S. Marine. We take pride in these special tributes, thanks to Virginia for the celebration of victory and for the recognition of the victors. Thank you.
Our next speaker is the Virginia Secretary of Veterans and Defense Affairs and also a retired four-star Navy Admiral, Mr. John C. Harvey, Jr.
Well, what an honor and a deep personal privilege to be here today. Yesterday, December 7th, we commemorated the events surrounding the attack on our naval base at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, 75 years ago. And it was that attack that precipitated what we remember today, our nation's entrance into World War II. It almost sounds too abstract. I am reminded that on this day, 75 years ago, my uncle, Dr. Joseph Paul Harvey, Jr., and my father, Dr. John C. Harvey, marched down to the enlistment stations and signed up. My uncle served in the United States Army. My dad served in the United States Navy. And to be here with you on that day and recall their actions as well as yours is a privilege beyond my ability to express. One of the veterans here with us this morning was in Pearl Harbor on that terrible day of 7 December. Chief Petty Officer Leonard Gardner was serving on board the destroyer USS Reed, DD-369, one of the many ships in Pearl Harbor on 7 December. Like so many of the veterans here, that day changed the trajectory of Chief Gardner's life forever. Following the attack on Pearl Harbor, Chief Gardner's wartime service included the following campaigns: the Battle of Midway, the Aleutians, Guadalcanal and the Solomon Islands, New Guinea, the invasion of the Philippines, the Battle of Iwo Jima, and the Battle of Okinawa. Chief Gardner essentially fought the war in the Pacific from its very start to its very finish. Chief Gardner Chief Gardner, I know this must be a particularly special time for you, but I also want you to know that along with your fellow veterans who did so much, You set a truly extraordinary example for us to follow, who had also had the great privilege of serving in the United States Navy. Thank you, Chief. Thank you for everything.